Chelsea have collected their yearly contribution from Tottenham, right there at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, or should I say, 3 points lead. From Caicedo running the midfield to our defense locking up Spurs completely, as well as the 5 things we learned from Chelsea 1-0 win. But before we dive into this gargantuan review, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. But if you have been following me for a while, you know the drills. We're on the road to 10k subscribers, so make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive into it. Tottenham 0, Chelsea 1. And honestly, that scoreline flattered Spurs. We went to North London, dominated from start to finish, and left with a thoroughly deserved 3 points. João Pedro's first half strike, capitalizing on Van der Ven mistake, was enough to separate the side. But if you are being real, that could have easily been a 3 or 4. From the first whistle, we looked sharp, composed and in control. Maresca's structure was spot on. You could see the confidence in how we are building from the back. Enzo and Caicedo are dictating everything in the midfield. Spurs were pressing, but it wasn't working. We played through them like it was nothing. And once João Pedro punished that sloppy error from Van der Ven, the game shifted completely. You could feel it. Tottenham didn't have the answer. And in second half, it turned into a training section. We were sliding them open again and again. Vicario had to make 3 or 4 massive saves just to keep them alive. The XG says it all. Tottenham 0.10 to Chelsea 3.30. That's domination, pure and simple. And here is the crazy part. We didn't even look like we were on full throttle. There is a massive calmness in this team now, like we expect to win these games. And that's the difference. We are not folding in big away games anymore. We are controlling them. Tottenham on the other side, there were miles of it. Bentancur and Kudus tried to make something happen, but there was zero conviction. The press was disjointed, the midfield couldn't keep up with our tempo, and defensively, they looked rattled. Now on both sides on level points, but we have climbed from 9th to 4th, and Tottenham's miserable home form just keep getting worse. For us though, this was a controlled, calm, confident, dominant away performance. The type that tells everyone, Chelsea are back in business. Which brings me to the first thing we learned from this game, the lineup. Look at that lineup: Sanchez in goal, Gusto, Fofana, Chalobah, Cucurella across the back, with James pushed into midfield next to Caicedo. And that front four of Neto, Enzo, Garnacho, and João Pedro leading the line. It was a heavily rotated 11, with Gusto being the only player who started against Wolf in the midweek. And yet, the drop-off in quality, barely noticeable. And that was stood out to me. Maresca made big changes and we still look dominant. Let's not forget against Wolf getting absolutely cooked. An 8.7 rating, 2 assists and a goal. He was unplayable, direct, confident, fearless, and honestly, he made that left wing spot his for the week. But then, Garnacho stepped in tonight and reminded everyone he's still here. He might not have hit those Gittins number. He got a 7.0 rating in 66 minutes, but his performance had everything. 1 big chance created, 2 key passes, 86% pass accuracy, a shot on target, 3 out of 3 tackle won, 4 recoveries, and 5 ground duel ones. That's not just a winger, that's a workhorse with flair. Garnacho is a chaos demon. He thrives in unpredictable moments, those messy transitional phases where defenders panic. He's the kind of player who feeds off pressure, who wants to make something happen every single time he's on the ball. And what really impressed me today wasn't just his attacking threat, it was his defensive work. The tracking back, the tackles, the recovery, that's the mentality Maresca is building. Every attacker fights for the badge. Every player contributes both ways. Chelsea rotation no longer weakens us, it gives us option. Getting or Garnacho doesn't matter. Both are hungry, young, and delivering when called upon. Which brings me to the second thing we learned. We controlled the game when it mattered. We didn't dominate by a mile. This wasn't a 90 minutes demolition. But one thing, we did the job exactly when we needed to. The winner from João Pedro in the 34th minute summed it up. Spurs get sloppy at the back, Caicedo reads it perfectly, pressed, won the turnover, and bang, João Pedro pounced. That's what top sides do. They punish mistake. And for João Pedro, that goal meant a lot. 7 games without a single goal to contribution, that drought was starting to hang over him. But tonight, he looked sharp again, confident, hungry. He dropped a 7.7 rating, scored the decisive goal, had 5 shots, 5 on target, 48 touches, created 1 big chance, made 2 key passes, 5 recoveries, won 3 ground duels, and 5 aerial duels. That's not just a striker, that's a complete centre-forward performance. Here is the crazy stat. João Pedro had as many shots on target in the opening 45 minutes versus Tottenham as in his 9 other Premier League appearances for Chelsea combined. 3. And against no side as the Brazilian scored more Premier League goals than against Tottenham. 3. That tells you everything. When he's confident, when he's firing, he's dangerous. And what stood out to me though wasn't just the numbers, it was his intent. His hold-up play was solid, his movement dragged defenders out of position, and he kept forcing that Tottenham backline into panic. This is the João Pedro Chelsea needs, the one who can smell blood, who finished clinical when the chance comes. Even though we didn't dominate possession like we do, we controlled the moments that mattered. That's the mark of a team growing in maturity, grinding out win away from home, staying calm under pressure and taking your chances. Now, the third thing we learn, midfield authority. And speaking of control, that midfield of Enzo, Caicedo and Reece James absolutely run the show. Tottenham couldn't get near them. Let's start with my general, Moises Caicedo. Because if there is one thing you can count on every single game, it's Caicedo dropping a masterclass. He rarely has a day off. He finished with a 7.2 rating, picked up an assist, created a big chance, played 2 key passes, completed 86% of his passes with 88% accuracy inside the opposition box. Add in 2 tackles won, 4 interceptions, 1 clearance, 7 recoveries and 4 ground duel ones. That's elite defensive midfield play. I'm starting to sound like a broken record at this point, but that's how good he has been. Phenomenal, consistent. He doesn't just break up play, he dictates tempo, he built transition, and tonight, he even walked away with the man of the match. But if you are talking about consistency, let's talk about my captain, Reece James. He finished with a 7.6 rating, created 1 big chance, 1 key pass, completed 86% of his passes, hit 4 out of 4 long balls, and even registered 2 shots, with 80 total touches. Reece James is what I call all-weather like Mayweather. It doesn't matter where you play him, right back, left back, centre back, or midfield, the quality never drops. He adapts, he leads, he performs. And you can see the difference. When he's fit, the whole team feels calmer, more assured, and he adds balance, leadership, technical quality that very few players in the world can match. Between Enzo's composure, Caicedo's dominance, Reece James' control, that midfield three suffocated Tottenham. They couldn't build through the center. They couldn't press effectively. And when they tried, we just passed through them like it's nothing. Which brings me to the fourth thing we learned. We owed Tottenham. Let's call it what it is. This is our ground now. Tottenham 1 shot on target tonight. Their fewest in Premier League game against Chelsea since November 2020. That's almost 5 years. Tottenham has won just one of their last 14 Premier League games against Chelsea. 2 draws and 11 losses, losing the last 5 in a row. That's dominance. Psychological, tactical, historical. Pick your word. It all fits. And here is another one for you. Chelsea has won more Premier League games at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium than any other side since the ground opened in April 2019. But the stat that really sums it up, Tottenham XG of 0.05 tonight was their lowest on record across the 504 Premier League games since the season 2012-2013. That's not just low, that's non-existent. They barely threatened. 1 shot on target, a couple of half-hearted counters and nothing else. For a team sitting third in the table, that's embarrassing. From our side, it's exactly what we want to see. When a big rival plays that poorly, you punish them. You make it count. We did that, we stayed composed, we took our moments and left with all 3 points. It's not Tottenham Stadium anymore, it's 3 points lane. Because every time we go there, it's the same story. Control, compose, clinical. And now the fifth and the final thing we learn, defensive discipline. Yes, we kept a clean sheet. Yes, Tottenham barely created anything. But a 1-goal lead away from home, that requires focus. And we stayed locked in to the final minutes, which deserves credit. We have to start with Robert Sanchez, a man whose performance has gone a little bit under the radar. He was calm, confident, and without panic. He finished with a 7.3 rating, 1 save, 1 punch, 1 out of 1 successful sweep, 5 high clean. For a team that has suffered from set piece and long throw chaos, Sanchez handled the area situation like he owned the penalty box. Under the radar but essential. Then Wesley Fofana, solid, aggressive, a leader performance. He finished with a 7.4 rating, 2 interception, 3 clearance, 6 recoveries, 3 ground duel won, 6 out of 6 area duel won. For Fofana, the conversation was never about talent. It's only ever about his fitness. When he's fit, he's our best centre back. Simple. And Cucurella, 7.1 rating. Reliable, disciplined, composed in the build-up. Gusto, 7.2 rating. Energetic, sharp, intelligent pressure. Every single one of them did their job. No silly errors, no reckless rushes. A collective defensive masterclass. Because even if Spurs were awful, we still had to stay switched on for 90 minutes. But there is always a but. Are we consistent enough to survive bigger threats? When we go up against teams who will test our backline, can we maintain this structure, this confidence, this discipline? And that's the challenge. We did enough tonight. We protected that one goal lead. But we can't allow this to be a one-off. So that's the end of the video, my friends. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. You go be.